The 10 Best Examples of Landscape Architecture by myself, Colin Rowe. The first example I'll be going over is the Vancouver Land Bridge. It was designed by Jones & Jones Architecture. It is located in Vancouver, Washington, United States. It's in the Willamette Valley ecoregion, and it was constructed in August of 2008. The Vancouver Land Bridge is one of 6 installations along the Columbia River known as the Confluence Project. The bridge is a serpentine pedestrian path located over a 6-lane highway with a concept commemorating the bicentennial of the Lewis and Clark exploration, while seamlessly connecting the Vancouver National Historic Reserve to the bank of the Columbia River. The site design is a good example of proper land ethics and ecology due to the reuse of an existing structure and the implementation of native vegetation to create new habitats. There are 4 distinct habitats that can be identified from shoreland to upland. The site is also a great model for sustainability. All rainwater that falls onto the site is channelized and collected in an underground storage pipe that redistributes the water to the native plantings on site. The second example I'll be going over is the Canberra National Arboretum. It was designed by TCL Landscape Architects, and it is located in Canberra, Australia. The ecoregion that it's located in is the temperate broadleaf and mixed forest, and it was constructed in February of 2013. The Canberra National Arboretum combines a gorgeous design of land with preservation, sustainability, and educational aspects. The design geometrically lays out 100 forests that contain not only rare and endangered native species, but rare and endangered exotic species from all over the world. Today, the site is a home to 44,000 rare and endangered tree species. The site acts as a nursery for these species, giving the entire site the function of preservation. Sustainability is at the forefront of the Arboretum's mission. The site runs completely on solar power, and there are soil moisture sensors placed in each forest to limit the overuse of water. Overall, the whimsical design and beautiful forests attract visitors to the site, allowing for the Arboretum to educate the visitors on sustainability, conservation, and preservation. The next example I'll be going over is called Solar City, and it was designed by Atelier Dressitel, and it is located in Linz, Pichling, Austria. It is in the lowland plains and mixed forest ecoregion, and it was constructed in July of 2006. Solar City is an expansion from the city of Linz, Austria, and is a good example of proper land ethics due to its ability to design with nature and improve an ecological system through development. The city houses nearly 4,500 people, while ensuring a low level of fossil fuel consumption due to its solar electricity. The development of the site also aimed to repair the neighboring riparian wetlands by planting over 1,500 trees and using sustainable practices to stabilize the coast of the wetlands. An elaborate system of small rainwater drains, bioswales, ponds, and brooks lead rainwater from the buildings to the woods in the wetlands. Groundwater supplementation and permanent and temporary wetlands serve to preserve the existing water balance as much as possible. My next example is Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park. It was designed by LDA Design. It is located in London, the United Kingdom. It is in the English Lowlands Beech Forest ecoregion, and it was constructed in August of 2012. Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park was originally built to host the 2012 Olympic Games. After the Games had completed, however, the park reused all of its old venues and created something that the London community could utilize. The design implements thousands of different native species in its elaborate planting plan in order to increase the biodiversity within the park. This is a great example of the reuse of Grayfield to create beautiful green spaces for neighborhood use. The site also offers low-emission housing that has been redeveloped from old Olympic facilities. This shows the park is not only sustainable for nature, but also a sustainable site for human life. The site is also planning for future development by having a mandatory amount of open green space. My next example is the Burj Khalifa Tower Park. It was designed by the SWA Group, and it is located in Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates. It is in the Arabian Desert ecoregion, and it was constructed in October of 2009. The Burj Khalifa Tower Park creates a beautiful, lush oasis in the desert conditions of Dubai. It does this through its implementation of thousands of exotic and native species and intricate water systems. In order to create a lush scene in such a dry and arid setting, there is a need for an abundance of water, not only to hydrate the plants but also to operate water features. A sustainable use of this resource is possible due to the irrigation system designed by SWA that collects, drains, and pumps condensed water from the humid outside air through the chilled water cooling system of the tower, producing about 15 million gallons annually that are used in the irrigation of the planting. The use of native plants gives character to the landscape, which is made up of arid zone species such as palms, succulents, spiny shrubs, and grasses. My next example is Saint Jacques Ecological Park. It was designed by Atelier des Paysages Bruel del Mar, and it is located in Saint Jacques de la Lande, Brittany, France. It is in the Atlantic mixed forest ecoregion, and it was constructed in March of 2013. The intention of the St. Jacques Ecological Park is to reconnect these St. Jacques neighborhoods with nature. The design is influenced heavily by the ecology of the surrounding area. Many zones of the park have been set aside and labeled as ecological corridors. These sections are for the rehabilitation of the natural landscape. The design is a great example of designing with nature because there are no harsh built structures on site. All of the structures used within this design blend well with the natural landscape, showing the connection between the built world and the landscape. Runoff from the site is purified with many reed beds that phytopurify the runoff as it enters the main retention lake. This site is a perfect example of renaturalization with a focus on building habitats and integrating neighborhoods with nature. My next example is the Qianan Senlie Greenway. It was designed by Turinscape, and it is located in the Qianan Hebei Province, China. It is in the northeast Chinese ecoregion, and it was constructed in March of 2006. The Senlie Greenway is a perfect example of the rehabilitation of a brownfield. Before construction began on the Senlie Greenway, the site was used as a garbage dump and a spot for sewage drainage. The design does not only restore the natural landscape, but also transforms it into a functional space for residents and visitors. Pedestrian and cycling routes have been positioned along the Greenway, increasing the access of local communities to the space. Low-maintenance vegetation, wetland species, and wildflowers were chosen for the design of the green infrastructure. A beautiful contrast appears between the elements of functionality and the green nature due to the vibrant color choices for built materials. This design is also self-sustainable in that the water on site filtrates in order to be used in the hydration of the vegetation. My next example is the Banjaran Hot Springs Retreat. It was designed by Malik Lip and Associates. It is located in Ipoh, Perak, Malaysia, in the Borneo lowland rainforest ecoregion. It was constructed in May of 2009. The Banjaran Hot Springs Retreat is a great example of ecological design, showing how to use surrounding natural resources without excessive interference. The retreat was merged with the tropical jungle by planting appropriate native vegetation and using mostly local natural materials. There are also water features, herb gardens, and geothermally heated water tanks. The design takes advantage of the existing topography and incorporates the existing landscape, caves, vegetation, and water into the design, resulting in a strategically located complex with therapeutic values. Harvested rainwater is used for landscape setting, and the measuring tools equip all places that have potentially high water usage. This is a great example of designing with nature and proper land ethics because of this design's ability to interact with nature and use the elements that surround it. My next example is Gardens by the Bay. It was designed by Grant Associates and it's located in Singapore. in the peninsular Malaysian rainforest ecoregion. It was constructed in June of 2012. Gardens by the Bay is a design that was rooted in conservation and sustainability to show how powerful conservation and natural energy can be. The site features two large glass biome conservatories that replicate the cool, dry climate of the Mediterranean and semi-arid subtropical regions and the cool, moist climate of the tropical montane region. These biomes run on a cooling system that can help to achieve at least 30% savings in energy consumption compared to the conventional cooling technologies. Inside of these biomes are thousands of endangered plant species. The lake systems are also very sustainable due to the filtering of water runoff and the reduction of the nutrient load. This ensures that the water is a clean environment for the many aquatic animals and plant species present. My next example is Atlantic Park. It was designed by Batlle Roig Arquitectes and is located in Santander, Cantabria, Spain. It is in the Iberian sclerophyllous and semi-deciduous forest ecoregion and was constructed in September of 2012. The design for Atlantic Park combines elements of ecological restoration and urban community parks. The site was previously a piece of land that was used for waste and dumping, but through its rehabilitation it has become a swampy marshland with many exotic reeds and plantings. An artificial lake was created as part of the design. The lake acts as a reservoir for runoff, an expansion of the marshy habitat, and as a visual focal point in the park. Catwalks have been implemented across parts of the marsh in order to bring the community physically close to the environment. The park's planting scheme is adapted specifically to both regional and on-site conditions, emphasizing plant species native to the Atlantic coast. This park is a great example of design with nature and land ethics due to the ability to accentuate the biodiversity that had previously existed on site, while still incorporating community recreation.